right. As soon as we get the green light. Okay, looks like we're ready. Good evening. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. We start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I ask you to join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I'd like to thank everyone for being here tonight. We've had the honor of being able to hire 6 new full-time firemen, and we are going to, I'm sorry, for starters, Mrs. Price, will you call the roll?
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Here.
Mr. DeLauro?
Here. Here. Okay, yes, so like I said, we had the privilege to be able to hire 6 new firemen, and tonight we'd like to swear them in front of you all. So we will take care of that first. Then we will dismiss them to go down to the fire station. We'll continue the meeting real quick, and then we'll join them afterwards. Okay, Chief?
Good evening. Thank you all for coming, family and friends, residents, department members, and trustees. We are here this evening to welcome 6 new members of the Springfield Township Fire Department. This is an incredible day for all of you and the department. I hope you remember this great honor for the rest of your careers. To the families, this is also about you. I'm very lucky to have incredible support from my family, especially my wife, Mindy. Good days, bad days, holidays and weekends, birthdays and family events, these members at times will be on shift and away from home. We want to thank you in advance for giving them support to serve and protect this community. We will take care of them and support them here at work. You support them at home. To the new candidates, this incredible and supportive community is blessed with a group of outstanding men and women who protect us with professionalism and dedication that is unmatched. We know that you 6 new members will strive to provide this same service during your career. Learn from your peers, strive to be the best. Relish and enjoy the good days and leave the bad days behind. As leaders, it's our job to help our department members grow into what we expect. I expect these few things. Enjoy what you do. This is truly the greatest job in the world. Take pride in yourself, your fellow members, the department, its equipment, and the community. Come to work prepared, early, and prepare for your day. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Stephen Key. Respect yourself, your family members, the department, and our residents. Never complain about running calls. The bus driver doesn't complain when he pulls up to the bus stop and people are waiting. Expect alarms. Do your best to make someone's worst day easier. Be their hope. Be a positive influence not only while at work, but also in life. Train, learn, strive to be the best. Always do the right thing, and even when no one is looking. Chief Edward Croker wrote, "When a badge is pinned on a fireman, his greatest act of bravery has been accomplished. What he does after this is all in the line of duty." Thank you all. I look forward to long careers from you. Please know that my door is always open. I will never ask you to do something that I wouldn't do or haven't done. It will be my pleasure to swear you in. Welcome to the Springfield Township family. Ready? Please raise your right hands. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and will faithfully discharge the duties of firefighter paramedic full-time for Springfield Township, Summit County, State of Ohio, during my continuance of employment. Congratulations. So once these candidates are done with their probationary period, we will order them Class A's and they will have a pinning ceremony. For now, we're going to have their designee present the badge to them. So Firefighter Donaldson's designee could come up, please. Firefighter Smith. Firefighter Beck. Firefighter Fortson. Firefighter George. And Firefighter Nash. Ladies and gentlemen, the new firefighters of Springfield Township.
Congratulations, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, anyone that's here with these young men, go ahead on back and celebrate. We'll be there shortly. All right. Take care of a few housekeeping items. Administratively, I move to dispense with reading the minutes and approve the minutes to date.
Second that.
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes.
I move to approve payment of bills and payroll as prepared by the fiscal officer, subject to audit.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes.
And I move to acknowledge receipt of the fiscal officer's March 2024 report, subject to audit.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman, I believe that You have
Still have to
an
read.
announcement here for us, a motion?
Upon recommendation of council representing the Board of Trustees, I move that we authorize approval of an agreed abatement order, a copy of which is attached to the minutes, case number CV 2024-04-1513, brought on behalf of this Board of Trustees against Akron Hotel Suites LLC, operating as Red Roof Inn, in action for abatement of nuisance at 2939 South Arlington, Akron, Ohio 44319. Township Attorney Joseph Spoonster and Assistant Prosecutor John Galansky are authorized to execute the board's approval on the agreed abatement order. Jack, did you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah.
Chief?
This business, I mean, our officers have responded to an overwhelming number of calls at this Red Roof Hotel, diverting our resources away from other areas of the community. So the township, we felt that we needed to take decisive action against this business. The general reputation of this hotel, it's a place for reckless behavior. It's a place where unlawful activity is permitted. I mean, it seems the general knowledge of the folks going to this hotel, they're aware that it's a place that unlawful activity is permitted. So I appreciate the board's support. I really appreciate Prosecutor Elliot Kokovich and Prosecutor John Galansky from the sheriff from Summit County that supported us with this. The good thing is that we did meet with the ownership of the hotel. We also met with the folks from the corporate headquarters of the Red Roof Inn. After that meeting, I was very encouraged. They agreed with they understood our concerns. They said they wanted to support the township to make this a better business and deal with all the criminal activity that our officers are faced with there. So this agreed order, by them signing this agreed order, shows that we can move forward and have a better business there where they can be better neighbors with the rest of the businesses off Arlington Road. So we are happy about moving forward with this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second that.
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes.
I move to approve the attached resolution with Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council for the 2024 Energized Community Grant Program.
Second?
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes.
I move to approve the attached resolution authorizing an amendment to the estimated resources for Fund 2274 for the fiscal year 2024 to allow the reallocation of monies from fiscal year 2023 projects that have been canceled in 2024.
Second?
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes.
I move to approve the cost estimate from Brad Smith Roofing in the amount not to exceed $16,000 for roof repairs to Town Hall and paid from Fund Line 1000-930-930.
Second?
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes.
And I move to approve the quote from CHI Corporation for new equipment upgrades to the firewall in the amount of $13,950 and paid from Fund Line 1000-110-323-0931.
Second that.
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes.
Mr. Caudell, you have some motions for the police and road?
Yes. I move to approve the quote from Fields USA for ammo in the amount of $4,627.02 and paid from lines 2081-210-318 in the amount of $2,627.02 and 2081-210-430 in the amount of $2,000.
I would second that.
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Cottle?
Yes.
And for the road departments?
Yeah. I move to accept and enter a contract with Summit County Engineer for the 2024 pavement program and make direct payments to Melway Paving in the amount not to exceed $600,000 and paid from fund lines 1000-330-360 in the amount of $50,000, 2021-330-360 in the amount of $150,000, 2031-330-360 in the amount of $250,000, 2231-330-360 in the amount of $150,000. This represents the 405 motor pave and 422 chip seal programs.
I would second that.
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Caudle?
Yes.
Okay. For the zoning, this first zoning issue has to do with the conditions at 3241 Avis Road. Is there anyone here from that property? Seeing no one, then the board has received a report from the zoning administrator regarding the conditions of refuse, junk, and other debris on the property at 3241 Avis Road, also known as parcel 5108245. Proper multiple notices have been given to the property owner under Springfield's nuisance property standards and procedures to clean up, remove, or otherwise abate the condition, but the nuisance remains. So pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 505.87, I move to declare the conditions of 3241 Avis Road, parcel 5108245, to be a nuisance property, that an order be issued to the property owner to abate the nuisance by removal of all the items detailed on the zoning administrator's report within 7 days. Failing that, this board shall act to abate the nuisance by removing the refuse, junk, and debris, with the total cost incurred for the abatement to be certified to the Summit County Fiscal Officer as a lien upon the parcel. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Caudle?
Yes.
Okay. And in regards to 2540 Shortway, is there anyone here regarding that property? Seeing no one, the board has received a report from the zoning administrator regarding conditions of refuse, junk, and other debris on the property at 2540 Shortway, parcel 5103805. Proper multiple notices have been given to the property owner under Springfield's nuisance property standards and procedures to clean up, remove, or otherwise abate the condition, but the nuisance remains. Pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 505.87, I move to declare the conditions of 2540 Shortway, parcel 5103805, to be a nuisance property, that an order be issued to the property owner to abate the nuisance by removal of all items detailed on the zoning administrator's report within 7 days. And failing that, the board shall act to abate the nuisances by removing the refuse, junk, and debris, with the total cost incurred for the abatement to be certified to the Summit County Fiscal Officer as a lien upon that parcel.
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Caudle?
Yes.
Okay. We will now open it up for public comments. Please step up to the microphone, state your name and address. No?
My name is Tom Muma, and it's 3401 Rustic Lane, Uniontown. And I think I just want to put on the record a couple things about, we live in the southern part of the township, which is right back of Melanie Lake. And I guess I want a couple things on the record. And I know there's a big meeting about that coming up, so I'm not going to say too much at this point in time. But I wanted to question the zoning, whether it's business or whether it's residential? What are the rules? What are the regulations? I'm not sure anybody knows. And I think the neighbors need to know what's right, what's not. And that's kind of a detailed thing I know to do, but I think that's important, so there's no misunderstandings one way or another. The other thing is, I think the reputation of Springfield Township has been made way because of the things that go on at Melanie Lake. I understand it's a business, but pretty residential. And so I wanted to put those things on the record. And the noise is an issue, but all that can be addressed on May 1st at the senior center. And so I just wanted to get that on the record so that at least you know where I stand. And I'm very, very close. That's an understatement. So thank you.
All right, thank you. You will be there May 1st?
Well, bad timing. We're on vacation.
Okay, all right. Well, I was just going to say, to get your questions answered, if you want, I mean, I'm sure the zoning administrator, can we email him or what, to let him know what the zoning is there or whatever? I mean, if you would like.
Well, it's always been a question for me. It kind of rolls, just rolls, you know.
Okay.
And then after the fact, after, you know, people leave a certain area coming down there for all the congestion and stuff, they leave and we're about.
Can he go back to the podium, Joe?
And so those are things and details.
Yeah, could you
Back
just,
up-
so they can hear you.
upstairs.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So I think that meeting, and I feel bad about not being able to be there because I've always got up and spoke about it and feel very strongly about it because, you know, we pay taxes, business pays taxes, but I think sometimes the mixture of residential and business is really conflicting and very bad judgment. And if we go by the definition of a neighbor, which is I wouldn't want to do anything that to me that they would do to someone else. And I think it's just obscured greatly there. And there's a lot of things that could go into the details. And I'm sure they'll get into it on May 1st, from what I understand. So apologize for not being able to be there, but it's been scheduled for months, so.
Okay,
So,
no, that's fine. I
yeah,
understand.
so there's not much you can do, unless they move the date of May 1st, but that's easy to remember. So anyhow, that's pretty much what I have to say in a framework. There's certain details. I don't want to get into the negative stuff because everybody knows in the township what's going on. So it's no surprise to anybody. So I think the guys that joined the fire department, I don't want to mix anything with that tonight. It was wonderful. So, okay, thanks.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Jeremy, how's everyone?
Good.
I'm here to talk about the Red Roof Inn.
Okay.
And you just shut a place down in 7 days for a nuisance.
Okay.
That's not a nuisance?
What, the Red Roof Inn?
Yes.
Yes, it's a nuisance,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, well, how can you shut residents down in 7 days, but you can't shut this down?
Well, we didn't
No, we
shut-
did shut it down. The
No,
Red
well,
No,
Roof
it's
Inn?
not shut down.
Well, no, the Red
I
Roof-
just drove through the parking lot.
Oh, well, they
Oh,
Came to an order to do things
no,
that the
no,
judge
no,
told them
no,
to do.
no,
Yes.
no, 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 no.
yes.
Can I speak?
No,
Can I
Joe.
speak to it?
Yeah, yeah.
I
Chief,
can speak,
go ahead.
Brian, to the Red Roof Inn. Here's the plan with the Red Roof Inn. You know that we teamed with Summit County to get an agreed order in place, right?
Yes.
We don't want an empty building, right? We want a business in there that's going to be a reputable business, that's going to do the right thing and be good neighbors and not be a nuisance. The agreed order does that for us. The agreed order gives them guidelines, and it's pretty specific, and I'll give you a copy of it, of all of their requirements, and they're very strict requirements on there. And let me just say this, Brian, I absolutely understand your concern. You and I have talked on the phone. We had the Quality Inn Hotel, right? And we had the same problems with that. After the agreed order, they became a good business in our community is what we want to do with the red roof. So we have to give them an opportunity under this agreed order to follow the guidelines, which I can share with you that are very strict for the next year or so to see if they do that. If they don't, then the judge, we don't have the authority to shut it down. A judge would have the authority to shut it down if they don't follow the guidelines in the agreed order. So that's kind of the strategy to deal with this nuisance property.
I understand it's a process, but after 1,300 phone calls
Yep.
to complain about you, would you still have a job?
No, you're absolutely right, Brian. And I'll take some responsibility on that we didn't move forward with this agreed order sooner, but we're there now after we had a really good response with the activity at the Quality Inn. Now we're addressing it with this hotel. So,
I guess my biggest question is, maybe after 500 phone calls, why wasn't something done?
that's a valid question, but we are moving forward now with this agreed order. I think that you would be happy with it if you saw the requirements for that business.
Look, I told you guys on the TV, I worked hard. I lived in the city. My wife went to Garfield. I lived in the city.
Yep.
And I worked hard to move out to Springfield. And then you're going to bring the trash right to me. I don't think people deserve a second chance at this point. 1,300 phone calls? Seriously. Me and my wife won't even go to Walmart. I got to drop my daughter off at work at Kohl's because I don't trust the people. And you want to see pictures of the trash? I just went through the parking lot. I went through the parking lot at the Red Roof Inn. It's ridiculous.
No, I understand. So why don't we do this? How about if you and I are working, we'll continue to communicate and let's see if they start making progress and they follow the agreed order. Now, understand too, and I'll share this with you, the agreed order doesn't take effect immediately. There is a grace period for them to get things in line over there. Now, I will be meeting with them and Mrs. Chapman every Friday to make sure that they follow through with the requirements on that order. So I'm hoping that we'll have the same success we did at the other hotel up there with this one.
I am hoping, but who's going to clean the trash up and who's going to...
They're required to, that's all in the agreed order.
I'll show you a picture. It says private property through their trail.
Yeah, they have to fix it. There's a list of
There's
things.
a lot of things
They have to
they
fix
have
the
to do.
building, they have to fix the parking lot, the drive, they have to clean up all the trash, and then maintain it that way. That's all part of the agreed order. If they violate the agreed order, then the court will have the authority to shut it down.
I understand we just can't shut a business down.
Right.
But bring the Red Roof in and build it right across the street and let me tell you what you think. And just,
No,
And
but
just-
I understand what you're going through.
I mean, just ask. I mean, I moved out of the city to get away from the problems. And then you just brought them to me.
Yeah, but
And you guys don't have the force. You guys
Right.
can't keep up with that.
hopefully that won't be a problem if they follow the new requirements.
So,
I understand what you're saying, so let's see if we can move forward now with what we have.
all right.
Those are the tools that we have. We don't have, the board doesn't have the authority. I don't have the authority to shut down the business.
But I mean, if there's a vote or anything, I vote no. I mean, just burn it down. I don't care what you do. I mean, Walmart will buy the property or do whatever, but I just don't agree with what, I mean, Joe, Jeremy, you guys remember the Knights Inn? So there you go. And I work for the city of Akron. You go to the Red Roof Inn for one reason. And one reason only. They have no amenities. They have no nothing. It's the Knights Inn all over. Get it out of here. I don't know how else I can express myself to get it out of here. Besides,
I understand.
I don't want to go back to jail. But I've had enough of it. I really have. I mean, it's just a bad nuisance, and we shouldn't have that in our community. So I appreciate your time, guys. Thank you.
Brian, thank you.
All right, Brian, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. Yeah, we'll keep in touch.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, Joe, I got something.
All right, Cal.
Last time I was here, we was talking about Ted and how he felt that the township feels about when they want property and how they're gonna acquire it and things they'll do. And, I brought it up because it really shocked me, okay? And this is for Kelly and you and Jeremy. How wherever he gets it in his mind that the township will put pressure on you and the pressure will not be lifted. And you won't have no junk and debris. And most people don't have $7,000 to $12,000 to fight it, so we win there again. Now this is what the man said, Joe.
Okay.
And here's the thing. I hope this is not how the township feels. Now we have this thing with the Cambodian here and the way some, like people don't want to clean their property up, and there are ways that they're going to clean it up. And hey, Joe, I'm not complaining about that. But here's what I am complaining about. When this man here has a job, his job title, and he feels that when the township wants a piece of property, we'll put the pressure on. Because you see, Joe, here's the thing. Now, the police call me at home. They say, Kyle, there's a fight at your rental, and they busted your windows and busted the door. I said, well, arrest them. He said, well, I'll have to come up, and you'll have to sign papers. I said, okay. He's never come to this day, Joe, okay? So what I'm trying to get across here real quick is the pressure. See, the pressure works in many ways. And I'm not trying to be funny, Joe. I'm trying to be serious as a heart attack about how the pressure can be applied to you, okay? And there's other instances. I'm not trying to make this long, but I'm just trying to tell the truth here, okay? Where does he get in his head that this is how the township operates? And if anybody here feels the same way, I would like to know. And I'm sure the people would like to know that that's how that man feels, because who knows what piece of property Springfield might want next year, next month, and it's bad, Joe, is what I'm saying. It's bad on your lips. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, you guys are doing a lot of this. If you don't clean it up, boom, we'll clean it up, put it on your taxes. Okay, Joe, well, somewhere something's being lost here in our country. Okay, I hope you're realizing this, because as much as I can agree with the cleanup, okay, when you do things a certain way, it leaves a bad taste in some people's mouth. And you just can't change it, Joe. And I'm telling Kelly, and I'm telling Jeremy, okay? Now that Cambodian, I told somebody today, I said, now that Cambodian came from Cambodia. A lot of average people over there don't live too good. Might sleep in the rut. They might, everybody knows how a Cambodian country is. Now look, this guy comes here, he lives in Sawyerwood. Now, that could be a mansion to him, Joe. Even with all the junk that was there and everything that was there. Because, hey, he's Cambodian, but he's American, he's proud. And if you don't tread on people, look, my nephew lives next door to him. The cops are there. My nephew goes out to talk to the officer. He says, we've been on this guy for 25 years. I said, that's what he said, Mikey? He said, yeah. I said, they've been on him for 25 years. I said, well, you know what? I said, I'm 67, and I've always had to come down here about my stuff. So am I going to get the same treatment because now I'm 67 years been warned? This is what I got to wonder.
No.
And Joe, I brought up some things with the chief. Me and him had a little disagreement on what was said or what wasn't said. And I asked about officers running in my house on a misdemeanor warrant. I've yet to hear from him. Okay? Now, nobody wants to say too much to Kyle because Kyle's got something to say about it. Whatever, we'll talk about it. But here's the thing, Joe. I would like to have the chief give me 4 officer complaint forms I'll fill them out. If I lie on those forms, Joe, that's a criminal offense. He can come and arrest me, okay? And I would like to have 4 officer complaint forms. And the only reason I'm being this way, Joe, is because the man didn't even come up and see me like he said he was going to. Nobody wants to hear what Kyle has to say, but listen, if anybody thinks this don't make perfect sense, then I would like to know, because I don't want to be a fool. This is my community. I grew up here. I'm not saying I'm anybody, but I am somebody. And if this don't make sense, you know, you guys are the 3 wigs. Say right now, like Kyle, say right to me right now, Kyle, you're off beat. What? Because look, the person that heard Ted say that day is right there on that board. So if there's any doubt about what was said and what Ted said, or if Ted said that, or how Ted said that, or if I'm miscuing it, just remember, the person's right there among you guys. I've heard him say it all.
Okay. Thank you. We'll get, Chief, can you get him those forms? Okay. We'll get that for you, Calvin.
I'll get them for you.
Chief, this has to be a change of a certain thing. They can't run it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, you've been waiting patiently, so we'll let you.
Hi, I'm Miss Joan Ritzman. I live at 3339, that's 3 3s and a 9, Pontius Road, Uniontown, Ohio. And my land abuts Kim Tam, Melanie Lake. I am to the south of the main part of Melanie Lake and to the east of the parking lot. All right, I have 3 concerns tonight. And they're all about Saturday, April the 20th. The first was the noise, second, fireworks, and third, I question the marijuana going out to the public. All right, first of all, was the noise. It was horrendous, hour after hour after hour. Secondly, was the fireworks, and this bothered me the most. At 9:45, I was in the evening. I was sitting in the front room, which is on the east side of the house, and suddenly I heard this blast. I thought, a bomb? What? And then I thought, well, and the aluminum siding on that side of the house, as well as on the north side, next to Kim Tam, began to vibrate. And I thought, good grief. I went into the kitchen, looked out the kitchen window, and I thought, well, we are not in a war. What's going on? And then I could see down to the creek, which separates my land, basically, from Dr. Mumal's land. And I could see that they were shooting fireworks from near the wire fence that separates me from Kim Tam, Melanie Lake. I could also see when they were shooting off these fireworks that they were pitched there on the ground, right near the creek, the fence, and the line not too far from Dr. Mumal's land. He was gone, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you might look at the situation. And then the fireworks were showered all over my woods. I feared fire. I immediately called the dispatcher here. And she stated 4 things. She said, Springfield authorized the fireworks. And I said, Springfield? I didn't know there were to be fireworks. And secondly, who is the part of Springfield that authorized the fireworks? Well, she didn't answer that question, but she proceeded. There are 9 policemen here, on your site, on the site, and there is a fire truck. And she would notify Chief Simone that I had called. In about 10 minutes, the fireworks stopped, thankfully. But I was troubled that they had taken the freedom to shower their fireworks over my woods. The first year, Jeremy Cottle and his wife Melanie moved here. They shot fireworks from the parking lot to my field. They didn't do it too long that evening, but then they moved over to the north part of my land and fired them from Melanie Lake into my woods. I wanted no threat of fire. And fortunately, they quit pretty soon, and it was later, just before Melanie died, that she happened to bring up the subject of the fireworks and admitted that that's what they had done when they shot them about July 4th of that first year that they lived there at Melanie Lake. Since then, each year, on some special occasions, people shoot those fireworks into my woods again, and they are never given permission to fire them. I tried to lay low. I tried to be peaceful. I hadn't complained until this round, Saturday. That was so horrible, and I feared so much of fire. My parents planted those trees back in the late 1940s and early 1950s. I don't want to see fire. Now, my third concern about that event over there, it was called Farmers Market, but really it was a marijuana expo. My third concern was the plants being carried out. I was a teacher for 40 years, and I could see little kids now inquiring about these plants. I can see little kids experimenting with that marijuana. I hate to see what we're doing to our population. We adults better be mindful of what's coming down the road. Well, lastly, I want to repeat, no fireworks on my property. Please, please take action. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
Hello, my name's Cody Brady, and the weed festival that she was talking about at Kim Tam, did anyone else go to it that was here? Anyone else in here? Good, so you know all about it. I was there. I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't drink or anything. But I can tell you that was the best community event I've ever seen for Springfield. Just the joys of bringing everyone together. And when she's talking about the plans, an issue for kids, you weren't allowed even in there unless you were 21. They were checking every ID. And then on top of that, if she's concerned about the kids, why are they selling cappuccinos in the parking lot at the high school? Like, doesn't make sense to me. There's so much science backing up marijuana, the legalization of it, everything else, but yet we're giving these kids these crazy drinks that are gonna rot their teeth into their brain. And so I just, for the fireworks, I have no comment on that. I didn't stay there that long. But as for the event itself, I definitely think that it should be looked at and kind of improved upon. The amount of people, there's people coming from out of state that were coming to visit it. I mean, it was a sight to see. So that's what I have to say.
Yes.
Hi, this is my first meeting here. It's nice in here, guys. My name is Nikki Kuntz. I actually live in the village of Lakemore. Do you guys require the address to say your address when you speak? No? I just want to say congratulations to all of the new firefighters. It's probably the best part about coming to any meeting is watching the families get to hand that badge to their kids and their loved ones. So congratulations to them. The second thing I wanted to say, and I don't want to be disrespectful to the older generation, but I just want to say that the event that happened at Kim Tam, I was not able to go. I had the stomach bug, unfortunately, but I did plan on going because I did want to see what it was about because, you know, it is 2024 and cannabis isn't going anywhere. And Ohio has spoken about cannabis and it's a business. And from what I understand, it was a great event and there was no, you know, no calls or anything like that. Everyone had a great time. A lot of great information. There was not kids at the event. You had to be 21 and over. We got to get with the times a little bit. And I know that people don't like fireworks and they don't like to have things in their backyard and everything, but he's running a business and it's a festival that people obviously wanted because there wasn't even room to get in. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's another one next year. Maybe there's some details that need to be worked out a little bit better about, you know, parking or whatever. But like I said, Ohio has voted on this subject, and it was loud and clear that people feel very strongly about what cannabis can do for people. And I just want to say I support it. I mean, it's to each their own. Had this been a beer festival, nobody would have said anything. It's a taboo subject that people aren't ready to hear. They're not ready to listen to. And I just want to say I think it was great. And I know there's a lot of negativity, and I'm just saying that, yeah, it's 2024. Cannabis is here to stay. So that's all I have to say. Thank you. And it's great when it's in a festival with people who are educated and learning and want to learn. It's not the Red Roof Inn because that is totally different.
But you don't live there. You don't know about that. Big difference.
But sorry that Kim Tam is close to your house.
Anybody else?
Anyone else? No? All right.
It's 2024.
No, you did the festival at your house, by your house.
Correct.
And deal with all that.
Okay. It's
Okay.
fireworks. It's not really fireworks. I'm just saying. There was no problem. Very
Yes, sir.
I'm an older gentleman here. I don't know if I appear it, but Earl Greaser. I live at 3439 Rustic Lane. My voice is given out because I've been out in the air and all today, so I don't know how well I'll voice. But in response to her, I have nothing against cannabis. I have something against what went down because I saw the results of it. I'm a 20-year veteran. I was in bed asleep when those fireworks went off. I have PTSD. I came out of that bed, I had no idea. And then with everything that's on the news these days, I thought someone was blowing houses up and stuff. It wasn't pleasant. And I know what Mrs. Ritzman probably experienced herself. Sorry, you'll get old too. You know, and it's fireworks. I have it on video. Mm-hmm. And I have a lot of questions about it. I was really going to save it for the meeting next week.
Okay.
I hadn't planned on getting up and speaking, but I don't know that she'll be at the meeting. I want her to hear it. It's not about the cannabis, but I want it done right. There's a lot I don't know about it, you know.
Okay.
Now, I spent 20 years in the military, 20-some years after that as an airline pilot. I couldn't touch this stuff. Even today, I couldn't. And I wouldn't, I don't think you would want me to in those jobs. So there is a limit, you know. And we drove up by the event after I got up and got dressed. And I had the occasion to speak to the chief and all briefly. And I didn't even like what I saw while I was sitting there alongside the road. And you talk about 21-year-olds. I saw people, kids walking by my car that I swore they weren't 21. I didn't ID them, and I don't know who was doing it at the gate, but they look like young kids. I saw cars parked in the right lane. This is probably out of your control. I don't know how that went down. That venue is too small for what is going on there. It has to have a limit. And I think you can speak for that. You shouldn't have to shut down Canton Road. And the fireworks, in my opinion, and I haven't talked to anyone, but I got it on video, were shot off lower than any fireworks that I've seen. My concern not only is her woods, but the power lines there. They were coming down over those power lines. And what does it take for those to burn the lines? Do they know it? Does Edison know that fireworks were going off over their power lines? I think there's things that are being violated here, and it just needs looked into. And I'll save the rest. And hopefully, I don't know, maybe this is too sudden for you, but I'd like to hear some comments out of you guys tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I didn't prepare to say anything. I know that the chief told me that meeting was set up, and I'm pretty confident that all your all your questions will be answered at that. I don't live right next to it, so I can't say that I know what you went through or whatever. Hopefully at the meeting, I know the chief will be there, Jeremy will be there. Hopefully you guys can get your questions answered and get something worked out, for the future. Okay.
Why did you move out of Springfield?
What's that?
Why did you move out of Springfield?
Well, I was born here. So I didn't have.
Where do you currently live?
Where I currently live? I just like a lot of land and be able to.
You still live in the
out there.
township?
Yeah, I still live did you say, why did I move out?
Yes.
I never moved out of Springfield. I still live here. I live on Hain. Yeah, I've never moved out of Springfield. Yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah. All right, you caught me off guard. I thought you said, why did I move out to Springfield? But yeah, no, I've never moved out. No, I never have.
Where
No.
did your kids go to school?
Well, they're old now, but they went to Springfield. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, yeah.
Yeah, they went to school with
Yeah.
my boys.
Yeah,
As long as you're sure about it.
yeah, I'm sure. I'll bring in their football helmets. I think they got them in their bedrooms. Yeah, so it's, yeah, my wife teaches here. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, do any of my colleagues have anything they'd like to say? Or any announcements?
That's the only reason I spoke about. I'd like to hear something. There's probably people here tonight that will not.
Okay.
Everyone knew, all of you knew that took place, and it did create a ruckus. So I thought it would be addressed without anyone even having to interfere and bring it up. As far as it is.
Mr. Deloro, do you want me to speak to the event?
Yeah, if you like to.
Okay, because I spoke with many of you folks on Saturday night, and I absolutely understand your concern with the noise and the fireworks. However, the event itself, Chief Reinbold and I met with the organizer 6 weeks before the event was going to happen. The gentleman, Johnny Lutz, that organized the event, Mr. Caudell just leased the property to him to organize the event. He fulfilled all requirements for staffing, for police and fire, and the other things that we'd asked for. He'd done all that for us. I will agree with you. We didn't plan for that many folks to come to the event. I'll take responsibility for that. In the future, we won't let that happen. Folks, while I offer, and I was at Mr. Muma's house when my radio went off that there was folks parking on Canton Road. The two officers directing traffic out there couldn't stop them before they started parking on Canton Road. So then I left Mr. Muma's house and went to Canton Road, and I spent the evening out there with the other 2 officers. And then when those officers left, we had a couple more officers out there. I thought we managed Canton Road, considering the amount of traffic that was on it, by closing down a couple of the lanes. That was a problem, okay, which we'll address in the future. The event itself, we had 2 officers working inside the event, and we didn't have one problem. There wasn't one altercation, there wasn't one incident, which was, I was pleasantly surprised with the number of folks that attended the event that we didn't have any problems. I do understand your concerns with the music being loud and with the fireworks. And I've talked to everybody that's here, I believe, on the phone that night. We set up that group of everybody that reached out to me, an email, so that I can stay in touch with you. I apologize that we didn't do a better job notifying the residents that the event was coming. I can take responsibility for that as well. In the future, we won't. We'll make sure that you guys are notified and you know what's going on at those events. And that was the reason, because of your concerns, that we scheduled that meeting on May 1st, because we want to sit down with the residents that are affected. Mr. Cottle, Fire Chief Reinbold is planning on being there, and our zoning administrator, Deb Groh, is planning on being there, so we can try to answer your questions about what authority we have and what authority we don't have in townships. So, but we really scheduled this because we heard your concerns. I heard your concerns on Saturday night, and I thought it was important we did something moving forward for you folks. So. And I talked with you on the street. I absolutely understand your concern, but I mean, we'll do what we can to alleviate your concerns with the events at Melanie Lake. At least share with you what authority we have, and what authority we don't have.
When and where is the meeting?
The meeting is going to be at the center on the lake on May 1st at 6 o'clock.
And why is it not here?
We didn't do it in this room because we thought that was a better venue to sit and talk about issues at Melanie Lake, rather than inside here. Well, the Board of Trustees, other than Mr. Cottle, won't be at the meeting. So we wasn't planning on being a recorded public meeting.
Is it legal to park on the side of Camp Road?
It is not.
Did you ticket those people?
No.
Why not?
Because we didn't have the resources and we didn't feel that it was necessary, because we did what we thought we could do to address that situation. In the future, we'll have things in place so that doesn't happen.
Aren't there specific times of the year when you can shoot off fireworks and the rest of the year you can't?
There are. The firework guidelines fall under the state fire marshal. This event, the company that handled the fireworks followed all those guidelines for the event, so he was legally allowed to have the fireworks show that night.
So he got a special permit or something?
He did get a permit, that's right. That's all through the state fire marshal. That's not through the township. The township, the fire chief, and the police chief have to approve that all the guidelines were fulfilled to have the display.
Okay. Does that include shooting over other people's property?
Does not include shooting over other people's property. So.
I mean, I will.
Fireworks, they don't have to get approved.
That's possible.
Fireworks are, like when we shoot them off over the lake, they don't make people jealous. And I can assure you that everything was done. I arrived on San Antonio Lake at 11 a.m. on Saturday and got home at 11 p.m.
I appreciate that.
And I live on Rustic Lane too, so I understand what you're saying.
My question is, I don't know how well you know fireworks regulations. I should.
Well, and that's
But
something
in
about
the department, there was just aspects of it that didn't seem right.
Sure, you don't talk about it.
I mean, I'll make a comment on the parking situation and the cars. I don't think there's ever been that many, like a demand to come there ever. If I fill up the one parking lot, that's usually huge. We have an overflow parking also. That filled up fairly quick, and just in reserve, like we usually park like cars with trailers, and I reserved that across the road, and that filled up also with just cars. You know, I had no idea that there was such a demand for some kind of event like this, and you know, I addressed it with Johnny, the guy that held the event, and you know, I told him some things that, you know, he needed, you know, probably sell tickets in advance, you know, limited number of tickets, because he had it open at the door too. And I don't think he understood how many people was going to show up. There's people, yeah, they showed up from out of state, down in Columbus. There's a couple state reps that actually showed up that was very influential in getting that law passed. There was multiple lawyers that was there in regards to getting that law passed. But there's definitely, you know, I'm using this as definitely a learning tool, and I want to be, you know, good partners with all my neighbors. I mean, I see you guys all the time. I see Mrs. Ritzman almost daily out there. So I definitely don't want any, you know, ill feelings. There's a lot of neighbors that showed up. But there's, you know, if there's an event like that in a, you know, in the future or something, there needs to be, you know, some definitely protocols that we could put in place to where, you know, all the neighbors would be notified.
I'd like to comment that it's great that it had such good participation, but that also reinforces what I say. I think the venue's too small for that. Not that you could.
Well, you're right.
Scale it down, perhaps, and have something reasonable.
Yeah, limited number of tickets would, you know, we're definitely limited to parking. And that's, when I bought the place, you know, I was going through the steps, there's no occupancy. They said the occupancy is limited to the parking. So that's, and, you know, and at that event, you know, people was parking everywhere. And I was looking up there and I called the chief right away. I'm like, Chief, the parking is like, the street looked horrible up there. And we took steps immediately. He got the guy that rented the venue from me to go up there and, you know, help, you know, explain it to people.
I'll try to make this my final thing. We have a rep from zoning. And who's that? Oh, you. Here's a person zoning, so I just want to make sure you're correct out. Concerning your property and the fact the number of people that were down in that parking lot. And I know that property is not fully zoned commercial. And it looks to me like everything's overflowing and intermingled.
Well,
So you're doing a lot of that in residential. So,
I mean, how I believe that it works is the park was created in 1954, and that was before zoning was put in place, so it's grandfathered in on any events that they used to do in the past. So until somebody else, you know, doesn't use it as a business or whatever, and then it stays in place.
Talking about the first portion of the property is clearly zoned residential. It's not all commercial. It appears that it's being used as all commercial.
What's being used is what it's been used for since 1950s.
Yeah, what he's saying is, it actually started before zoning came into place, so it can continue to be a swim park and what they were allowed to do back then until it no longer is that. Then it reverts back to what it's zoned for, which would have been residential.
I don't know if I can agree with that. That would take some research, which brings me to what's the chance of having the township attorney meeting next week?
We can reach out to Bob.
I can invite the township attorney, sure.
Absolutely.
I know you brought up one of the previous meetings, and there seemed to be some questions. We never get the answers.
Sure, absolutely. So I guess just real quick, if he's not available for that date, since you folks will all be at the meeting, should we move forward with the meeting or reschedule it?
If our attorney isn't available, would you want to reschedule the meeting?
Or do you want to move forward with the May 1st meeting? So we'll move forward. We'll
let's
reach
see.
out to the attorney. If he's available, we'll try and get him there. Yep, and then we can always reschedule future meetings after that, if you feel the need. Of course.
I wasn't there. We had a family dinner in Warren, so fortunately I wasn't there. I was there for the music, and the chief was in her house. And, pretty disturbing music. It sounded, I don't care if they run around there like banshees, but the sound is what affects me. And it would go way up and way down. It would go up a couple hours after the chief would call. The noise for me is the main issue. The fireworks are what they are. But the sound, and the idea that the noise can be, you can't even listen to the ball game on your TV. That's the music. It goes right into, it's like it's on my head. And I understand that's, not everybody has that, maybe Huck does. But it's just a general idea for me. If we're famous for neighbors, okay, give me a break. Neighbors don't do those things to people in terms of trying to watch a ball game. It's a noise, and it's disregard. And I don't like it. I don't like disrespect. He wouldn't say that, but it's disrespect. And that's very general. The other thing I would say is a reputation. My friends, when I talk, they talk to me. I got 4 phone calls on the way home from Warren about this thing. I'm just peacefully driving home. And it all happened for the next 3 days. I got calls and stuff. I never initiated, really. But the respect that this township has, people don't care about the detail of how well that went, as much as it wasn't work out well. They look at it as a drug thing. They look at it as a marijuana thing in Springfield Township. And right, wrong doesn't change with age, by the way. And so it's not doing the township any good at all for investments in our homes, for the other neighbors, their investments and so forth. And I can't speak any more about other than the hour and a half that the music was on, because I wasn't there. Yeah. I'm not going to speak about it. But I just find it disrespectful, and words don't mean much to me anymore when you get that kind of noise. And the old age doesn't necessarily make you stupid, it makes you wiser. And so, well, I guess it's done with that.
Well, I'll speak one thing on the age. I was really shocked. I mean, I'm 51, and I felt like I was actually young there. The majority of the people, it seemed like, was like 55 up. That was definitely the majority of the people. There was some younger people, but I was shocked how many older people that came up to me. They explained to me, man, I'm so glad that this is going on here, because for 30 to 40 years, I've been scared, and they've been like actually growing cannabis. And then now they feel like they don't have to be. I was shocked with that. And before I decided to have this event, I was a newly elected trustee, and I was very, very hesitant. I went to the chief, and I wanted to get his opinion on it. And I mean, my first instinct was no. And then I looked the guy up, and he was very influential down at the State House, trying to get the law passed. And the chief actually went to one of his events. And I didn't know this. He went to one of his events up in Cleveland. And then he came back, and he kind of reported to me. And I didn't, at that point, I didn't really see anything, that was that bad about it. The first time I put it on Facebook, I thought I was just going to get bombarded with complaints, and it was actually opposite of what I thought. It was like a lot of people saying, you know, prohibition's over, thank God, you know, that, you know, we're allowed to, you know, do this now. And you know, that kind of took me by surprise.
I hope the township's happy we had to introduce such a big deal in the township. I hope folks, people understand, people looking in that aren't from Columbus or whatever, may have a different idea and respect for Springfield Township. And so don't deceive yourself with what's going on. Everything that seems to be done is not family oriented. You cannot have golf things at night and expect families to enjoy swimming during the day. That is called two roads, and they don't match. And so, to me, it's just a big harm for Springfield Township and the reputation. Just one person, but that's my opinion.
Can I ask a question? How long have you actually lived in that neighborhood? I mean, really?
Since 84.
So for 40 years? How long have you lived there?
We've been there
How
since
long?
the 1940s.
So are we complaining about the cannabis event, or are we complaining more about land use? Right? So if you take the cannabis aside, is really the complaint about land use. There's been multiple complaints about late night events, noise. It's not the Melanie or the Kim Tam Park that you guys remember, right? It's not a daytime use, it's nighttime. It's not, I mean, it sounds more to me like your complaint is the land use. Aside from cannabis, I mean, take that out of the equation. The fact that it was nighttime, lots of music, fireworks over your houses, although they said it's okay. I mean, those things bother you, right? So I agree with you when you say somebody has to go through zoning and really pick it apart. To say it was grandfathered, I mean, the burden of proof for land use lies actually with you. You have to prove that it was used that way in order to move forward in a grandfather. You can't just say, oh yeah, that used to be a car lot. I mean, you have to have land use proof. And you guys would be the proof.
So my question would be, zoning is the most important thing.
Right.
You know, it's everything. So what we're talking about is somewhat superfluous.
I mean, in regards to the swimming, I mean, back in 1952, when the place opened, probably all the way up till, you know, when I was in high school, I graduated in 1991. I mean, swimming was a thing to do. I mean, now you can't even find lifeguards. So the business model has always been swimming, but it has to tweak some just to be able to, you know, have it survive. That's why there's going to be there's swimming places going out of business everywhere. And I'm thankful that I'm barely hanging on over there, but we're going to be probably one of the last ones around. You know, even if we do get the lake fixed over here, you're still not allowed to swim in it. So the kids the business model has to change some. There are kids that like to swim, and I'm trying to promote swim lessons, and I really want to promote those a lot this year to try to get kids interested in swimming, but it's changing. I mean,
Jeremy, what about the haunted house?
yeah, I haven't heard that one in a while. Yeah, the haunted house, since that ordeal, it hasn't been around since then.
So you don't think this is a carryover to that, or?
We explain yourself. What do you mean? Like?
Okay, because there was a lot of problems with the haunted house. And
Well,
obviously, there's a lot of problems now. So, I mean, I'm starting to add the numbers up, and I don't know, what do you think?
I mean, it depends who you ask. I mean, I got multiple.
No, I'm asking you.
Yeah. For me, for me, as a business guy, I do stuff that the public wants to do. I'm not gonna go out and do something that I know is gonna fail. So I'll go out there and test. The haunted house was not a success.
If it was a success.
That's why we've never had that again. Yeah.
You guys are both my friends. You guys are.
Yeah, I mean, but the haunted house, yeah, it was, the haunted house was just, it didn't, it was a good concept, but it wasn't financially feasible.
Financially, or were there other things that went on there?
Well, there's a lot of acquisition, that went on, but,
But what was in the newspaper?
which article? I mean, the first article.
Which article did you want to read?
I mean, the first article is kind of the article where he called me up and, the reporter.
There wasn't no touching or feeling or?
The reporter called me up and he wanted to go through it.
Touching and feeling going on?
I believe no.
You believe nothing?
From what the reports stated, yeah, there was nothing.
How did it get in the newspaper?
I'm sorry, say again?
How did it get in the newspaper?
Well, the newspaper came out because they said that I was a new haunted house and they wanted to do a report on it. So the guy from so the reporter went through it.
If nothing went on, it's just like you're saying, Jeremy. Why don't you have it anymore?
Because it's not financially feasible. It doesn't make sense as a business
So how
guy.
much money did you make off 420?
I made,
Nobody's coming up to the microphone. I'm not going to transcribe a whole bunch of people talking. This should be saved for the May 1st meeting.
Yes, ma'am. Who controls this meeting? We got a recorder walking out. We might as well all walk out.
Well, it's still being recorded.
It's still being recorded. That's why she wants you to step up to the mic so then she can listen to it later.
Was enforcing that either. Once you start getting this crossed out.
Well, do you want me to cut you all off and say step up to the mic? I mean,
Necessary, that's the only thing.
I think when we started, we said if you want to come up to the mic and state your name and address, I mean, yeah, I mean,
Tell him.
Brian, step up to the mic if you want to talk.
On your billboard, what did it say to vote for you? What did it say on your billboard? What did it say? That's all I'm asking. What did it say?
On my sign,
Yeah, what did it say?
change, time for change.
No, it didn't say nothing about change. It said bring the field back to Springfield.
Yes, bring Springfield back.
Exactly.
Correct.
You think you're doing it?
I think.
Do you think you're doing? No, that's not a going on conversation. That's a yes or no question.
I think that my goal is, yes, that's why I ran, is I want to bring that back. I remember.
What are you trying to bring back?
I want to bring
Was
back.
there ever an episode like that?
Brian, you have to let him talk. We have to have a conversation. Okay, we can't be yelling.
But it's a yes or no question.
Okay,
I don't
so
understand why
let
we gotta
Brian,
explain everything.
let him answer.
Okay, ask me the question, please.
Do you think you're doing well?
Do I think that I'm bringing Springfield back?
Yes.
Yes.
In what way?
In what way? I'm going to bring it back to where I remember when we were in high school, we were 10 to 15 years ahead of Green, ahead of Lake, and now we're 20 years behind them. I want to at least bring us up to where we're catching up again with those guys. Economically, socially, that's my goal.
Which I really do hope that this comes to fruition, but as we stand here today, it's not that. I mean, you see, these people are upset. And I grew up in Springfield. I never seen a pot festival, and I know cannabis is legal, and I don't have no problem with it. But I think there should have been more steps taken to accommodate the parking, and you can't control that. I know. Believe me, I know. It just got too big and too out of hand. And I mean, Jeremy, I mean, I wish you all the best. I mean, I buy passes to your swim park for my daughters and everything else like that. I kind of wish that, I know it's legal and everything else like that. I kind of wish it didn't happen in our community.
Well, you guys are gonna need to all show up because we're getting ready to vote if we want to bring these facilities to Springfield, in which, you know, these townships are going to benefit greatly from accepting these facilities in, but it's about what the public wants. So I highly urge, because it's here to stay. I was at the polls and I couldn't believe it passed overwhelmingly. And, you know, as a community, I'm not here, it doesn't matter what I believe, it's what you guys believe. That's why I was elected. And I'm going to
And I voted for you. I have no trouble voting for you. But at the same turn, I hate to turn this back to the Red Roof Inn, that's the same trash that's coming in. Do we need this?
How was the trash? Did you have any problems at the event?
You didn't have any problems?
They did.
No,
How many local bars that are in your neighborhood have a fight a night, or 10 fights a week? Are we trying to close bars down? We're not trying to close bars down, right?
I don't have too many bars in my neighborhood.
I mean, I would love for you guys, I would love for you guys to come, like,
I mean, I support Springfield. I grew up in Springfield, and I wanted to, I have my kids going to Springfield. I just wanted to be the place that we grew up in, Joe. You know it. Come on.
All right. Well, there will be a meeting May 1st on this.
So
you can talk about it all you want. We'll try to get the attorney there. Chief will be there, Jeremy. Yeah, now we're just going in circles.
Yeah, we're not getting nowhere.
No, Nikki, you can't talk again.
We're still at point A.
I'm leaving. I just want to say, the Village of Lakemore, we have a 3-minute talking time. That's it. We get 3 minutes. The residents have 3 minutes to talk, and that's it. This is.
It's gotten off.
In words, you guys
Bye,
already
Nikki.
discussed that, right?
What's that?
Putting everybody on the 3-minute timer. Because man, I've been practicing.
You've been, well, I noticed you bringing timer up with you because you're
You
getting
guys
ready.
let me go, but I heard you guys
All right.
talk about time.
Yeah, we're going to name it the Calvin rule.
Well, I gotta
Yeah,
get no 3
that way
minutes,
you
you say
can-
so much.
Okay.
I practice.
All right. Anything else? We can stick around and talk afterwards, Calvin.
Okay.
Joe, I just want to say now, I'm gonna ask some questions about his and what we're gonna do about him.
Okay.
If we're gonna do anything, I just need to know. Next meeting, I'll have questions about that.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Roll call, Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. DeLauro?
Yes.
Mr. Caudell?
You want to adjourn or you want to stick around? Yes. Okay. All right. Yeah, I know. What are you talking about where I live? I live in Springfield.
Why don't we play golf anymore?
I play Mayfair all the time, every Tuesday.
Why can't I get your league?